Hello everyone, Whitebox here, starting with a first game of Buttons and Bugs, this little miniature Gloomhaven game that I just got a little while ago. So I've got everything opened up, and I think I'm ready to start my first scenario. I'm going to read through the introduction here, and then I'll read through scenario 1. So, that shrinking feeling. What a time for Gloomhaven. First, a black tornado from the void nearly destroyed the city. Then there were reports of the very essence of corruption trying to end everything. But all's well that ends well. And at the center of both events, Hale, a mysterious Esther who lives in a derelict tavern, the Crooked Bone. It is said that she can turn anyone into a hero, exactly what you want to be. Sure, you don't have a lot of training, but put in front of the right adventure, you'd get the acclaim that is due to you. So with that bold purpose, you step across the threshold of the Crooked Bone and... No, that's not right. Everything is growing. Why is the doorway so large? Why are you so small? Is this some kind of Esther enchantment? You've been shrunk. Play scenario 1, a rude welcome. So my cards here are all a little bent, which is slightly disappointing, but it's okay. So scenario 1, a rude welcome. Level 1. Got some fancy gear there. You whirl around, taking in your familiar yet unfamiliar surroundings. Your attention settles on a scruffy character behind you, luckily on par with your diminutive stature. Nice and shiny, like it's never been used. Hand it all over and I'll let you live. Well, that simply won't do. Your gear is unused, but there's really only one solution for that. Monsters, we've got a bandit guard, which I've got right here. My goal is just to defeat all monsters. Well, your gear certainly isn't shiny anymore. Oh, wait, I've got to read that at the end. So I think on the back of this sheet is where we've got the actual map, and you can see how tiny this actual adventure map is, which is pretty cool. So this is it. This is the whole map here. So we've got the bandit guard up there. We've got my miniature. I think I start there. And let me just double check. I'm going to be playing the Bruiser, which is the second edition name for what was formerly the... no, I don't even remember. It had a different name before, but it's the Bruiser now. Alright, so we want to use hexes for the monsters. So I'm just going to read through this real quick. So I read my scenario entry up to and including the goal, retrieved the Bandit Guard monster card, flipped the scenario over to its map side. Neither I nor enemies can move through obstacles, which are green spaces, but I can attack through them with range attacks. Hazards, which are the orange spaces, are going to hurt anyone that moves into them. They deal 1 damage each time the hex is entered. Take note of the quantity and cube colors of the monsters shown on the map. So I've got 2 monsters here, so I'm going to be using, I think, 2 of these health trackers. They should have 8 health, so I'll put it on the 8 side for each of them. So here are my 2 monster trackers right there. Place cubes on the map hexes with the Bandit Guard artwork. A green cube in the spot with the green guy, so that's right here. And then a blue cube in its corresponding hex. Okay, so the colors just denote the monster number that you're with. My monster, or my microature in the starting hex. Retrieve a monster tray, so let's get that. So this is the monster tray. Place the Bandit Guard card in its slot. Okay. Set the bandit's maximum hit points as shown on their monster card and the hit point dials. I've got those right here. I think this arrangement is fine. Doesn't take up a ton of space. Place the white cube in the middle slot of the monster tray. Okay. Retrieve the red monster modifier tray, so that'll be right here. And place a white cube in the topmost spot. Keep the condition tokens icon reference card. And let's see, conditions are here, so I'll put them over on this side. and die, which is right over here. So I've got everything else on that side, so I think I should be all set and good to go. So each scenario is played over a series of rounds, and each round consists of the following steps. Card selection. First, you pick 2 of your ability cards. I have 4 in my hand for buttons and bugs. Then ordering of initiative. Next, determine the order in which you and the monsters will take turns. And then character and monster turns. Finally, carry out the turns in the order determined by initiative from lowest to highest. The rounds continue until the scenario goal is reached or your character becomes exhausted. Before you play the first round, there are a few important concepts that you need to understand. First, to go over the actions and abilities. So if you're familiar with Gloomhaven, this is kind of very familiar to anybody who's done that. But the entire top or bottom half of each card is a single action. On your turn, you're going to perform the top action of one of the cards that you picked for the round and the bottom action of the other. Each action consists of 1 or more abilities represented by icons and numbers. 2 most common are going to be attack and move. They're so important that you can choose to forgo any top action to instead perform a basic attack 2, or forgo any bottom action to perform a basic move 2. So same as Gloomhaven. When you perform a move ability, you can move any number of hexes up to the value of the ability. For example, with a basic move 2, you can move 2 hexes. So moving to an adjacent hex with each movement point. An attack ability allows you to target an adjacent enemy and deal damage equal to the ability's attack value, modified by the attack modifier roll. Anytime you perform an attack, roll the die and apply the corresponding modifier from the chart on your modifier tray. Okay, so that's right here. The applied modifier comes from the column A of the die result, and the row B marked by the white cube. Okay, interesting. And we're back. So for example, if you perform a basic attack 2 and roll a plus on the die, while the cube marks the 3rd row, which is right here, then you'd get a +1. Most modifiers simply add or subtract a value, but then there are the miss and crit also. And sometimes you'll have advantage or disadvantage on your attacks. When you do, roll the die twice and use the better or worse modifier, respectively. If you would have both, just roll once as normal. Important, after each attack, move the cube down 1 slot in the modifier tray or go back to the top slot if it's at the bottom. Alright, and then additional abilities, so there's jump, range, area of effect, conditions, yeah, same as Gloomhaven. Pierce, shield, push, elements. Alright. And for the first game, it says to ignore elements such as the wind on the bruiser's leaping cleave card for now. And then it'll explain those in a bit, so I guess I'll ignore those. Alright, so let's go ahead and play this out. Oh, okay. So I'm going to pick my cards. Probably shield bash and then do a basic move. Do these guys have shield? They have shield 1. Okay. So I think just to demonstrate, I'll try to go early and just hit the guy that's closer to me. Oh, warding strength gives you strength and self. That's cool. And pushes 2. I like that. Let's do that. Okay. So I've got my 2 cards. I'm going to play Shield Bash and Warding Strength. I'm going to pick 15 as my initiative here, so pick the lower one so I can try to go before the monsters. When do they pick their initiative? Let's see. I guess it depends on what they roll. Got it. Okay. So they are either going to be 30 or 50 or 70. So I know by going 15, I can guarantee that I go before them, which is kind of what I want. Okay. So yeah, next I determine the initiative of the bandit guards. I roll the die. Got a 0, so it's going to stay here on the 50 spot. So they're 50 initiative. So they're going to move 1 and attack 2. That's fine. Okay, great. The rest of the round consists of your turn and the monster's turns. So whoever has the lower initiative will attack first. Alright, so on my turn, I'm going to perform 1 top action and 1 bottom action. I can perform either action first, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do a move 4, actually just a move 2 to get down there. And then I'm going to do warding strength, so it's going to be an attack 3. So let's roll for that. Neutral, so 3 damage to this monster. So let's see, this is monster number 1. So he's down to 5. I also have a push 2 from that, so I'm going to push him 1, 2 through the hazardous terrain. So he's going to take an additional damage from that. And then I strengthen myself, which will give me an advantage on attacks next turn. So that's that. Alright, so that's my turn. After finishing an action, flip the card to its B side and return it to my hand. So that's different from Gloomhaven. So I've got some new abilities here with those B side abilities. Skewer, Unstoppable Charge, okay. Interesting. If the action has an active bonus icon, instead place it into your active area above the character card for now. Track damage you suffer by reducing your current hit points and stuff. Alright. On the monster's turn, it's going to perform the abilities listed on the monster card, which right now is move 1, attack 2. So they're each going to move 1, trying to get to me. Monster AI will try to avoid difficult terrain if they have an alternative path, so he's going to go here instead. So they can't get to me. Alright. So monster movement, they follow the shortest path to their target without moving into hazards. So that's what they do. Alright, as soon as a monster hits 0 hit points, it dies. That makes sense. They do get persistent bonuses. So they have that shield 1 at all times. So actually with the shield 1, he would have taken 1 less damage. So he should be at 5. Forgot about that. Okay. So that makes sense. After you and the bandits have taken your turns, the round will end. Cards in your active area with round bonuses, which I didn't have any, are now flipped to their B side and returned to your hand. Persistent bonuses would stay in your active area. I'm sure if I was playing the Mind Thief, there would be a couple. You should now have 2 A side cards and 2 B side cards in your hand. Before you start the second round, let's learn about the effects of your B side cards. Sure. B-side cards in your hand can be picked at the start of the round just like the A-side cards. However, instead of flipping them after use, B-side cards are discarded and cannot be used again until recovered. Target, an ability with a target specifies the target or targets affected. Sure. There's Retaliate. Yep. There's Lost Actions. Okay, that makes sense. Same as Gloomhaven, when you suffer damage, you can negate the damage by discarding or losing cards. You either discard an A-side card from your hand, discard 2 B-side cards from your hand, or lose 1 card from your discard pile. Rough. Alright, elements. So elemental infusions, such as the wind on the Bruiser's Leap and Cleave card, can power some effects. As long as an infusion is visible on a card in your hand, active area, or one of your chosen cards, it can be used once each round. The option to consume an element is represented by an element icon. So let's see. So I guess the Infusions are just that turn instead of being persistent and being generated at the end of your turn. So that ordering is a little different from Gloomhaven. Okay. And then let's see, I'm sure we'll get to rest when we come to it, but there are two ways you can short rest or long rest, just like in full Gloomhaven. They allow you to retrieve cards from your discard pile, and the cost of losing one card. You can only rest if you have at least 2 cards in your hand and or discard pile. You can perform a short rest at the end of the round. When you do, return all cards from your discard pile to your hand and flip them to the A side. Then you lose 1 card at random. Long rest, instead of choosing 2 cards for the round, you can declare a long rest. Return all cards from your discard pile to your hand, then lose 1 of your choice, and then heal 2. You'll also recover your items, but I don't have any items right now. I'll learn about them when I'm done playing the first scenario, apparently. And yeah, so far you can become exhausted in 2 ways. No hit points, no cards. So same as regular Gloomhaven or Frosthaven. Alright, so let's play through the rest of this scenario and try to finish it out. So I could go slow and wait for them to come to me, but they won't reach me. They don't have any move ability that's more than 2. So I'll probably go slow and just try to move up to them afterwards, because they could... It's possible that I'll be able to get into range of both of them if they get one of the move 2s. Could also skewer, but I don't have a way to generate wind on the bottom. That's interesting. So how does the... Let me just double check and make sure that I know how the elements work. Oh, interesting. So a little bit different. So as long as an infusion is visible on a card in your hand, active area, or one of the chosen cards, it can be consumed once each round. Okay, so even if it's in your hand, you can do it. So that makes skewer pretty good. Oh. So let's see. I think I can probably line this up. So let's go with Unstoppable Charge and Skewer. I'm choosing Initiative 86 because I want to go after them. Let's roll their initiative. It's still just 1, so they're only moving 1. So maybe I'll change what I'm doing, but that's okay. So I can move 3. Yeah, I won't get the full value of Skewer this turn, but that's fine, I think. Okay. Alright, so they're still doing 50. They will go before me, so they'll each move 1. Okay. So next up, I'm going to go. I'm going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. With Unstoppable Charge. I'm going to muddle both of them. So I'll put that muddle there. That'll give them disadvantage on their next attack. And then I'm going to Skewer. I'm going to consume the wind in order to add +1 damage and pierce 2. And I'm going to attack, I think, green. I'll see if I can kill him. So I should have moved this down last turn. And let's go for it. I've got advantage thanks to my strengthen, so I'm going to roll twice. I got a plus and a minus, so obviously I'm taking the plus. So I'm going to hit this guy for 6 damage, pierce 2, which will kill him. That's the end of my turn, so I lose my strengthen. Discard both these cards. And then I'm back to the top of my turn. So with this turn, just 1 guy left. I've got 2 cards. So I'll just play both of them. I'll go initiative 27. It's fine. And yeah, let's see what their initiative is. Oops. It's minus, so they're going 30. I'm still going before them. It's good. So in that guy, I'm going to hit him twice this turn. First is going to be my Spare Dagger. I keep forgetting that needs to move down. So let's hit him with the Spare Dagger. Got the plus, so it's going to be 3 damage and pierce 1, so 3 damage. And then Leaping Cleave, so 3 damage. Each attack moves this down, so 3 damage again. No pierce this time, so it's actually 2 damage. He's got 3 health left. He's going to go ahead and attack me for 1 with disadvantage. So it's 1 damage, which I'll take. These come back into my hand on their B side. And I'll just play both my B side cards. Do initiative 18. And yeah, I'll should be able to kill him no problem. Alright, let's roll his initiative. Sticking with 30. Okay. So it's not possible for me to miss. I don't have the miss here. Actually, I need to move that down again. I keep forgetting that. That's important. So let's just do an overwhelming assault. 6 damage. 6 damage. Destroys him. So the cubes are gone, and now I can read the conclusion of this scenario. So let's see. I'm going to flip this over for that. So my goal was to defeat all monsters, which I did. My tiny guards are done. Well, my gear certainly isn't shiny anymore, and it isn't even particularly fancy to begin with, come to think of it. Got the job done at least, but your situation is quite dire. You'll need to survive long enough to find out how to restore yourself to original size. But for now, you'll need to deal with the vermling that just appeared. Read the Collector. Ooh. So that's my next thing here. Let's go ahead and read it and see what happens.
Check out the scavengers, I'll see, the vermling offers. You're not the first to barge in on Hale and get less than ideal result. We've all been there. Some of us have realized the need to work together if we're to make the best of this. I assume you'd like to be big again?
You nod.
Then I have a proposal for you. During my time here, I've collected things that may be useful. You may borrow them, and in exchange, I will accompany you so you can I can expand my collection. I can also tell you that your best hope for escape is getting into the Crooked Bone and taking the issue up with Hale. Unfortunately,
you look behind you to see that the door is now firmly closed.
Yeah, the only way through is through the Buttons Kingdom. Well, across the road. Come on, follow me.
You can now equip items during scenario setup and play scenario 2, Crossing the Road. Alright, so I'm going to cut this off here. So nice quick version of Gloomhaven. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I think that was just like 15 minutes, even reading through all the rolls and stuff. So yeah, not bad at all. Very much a travel size game. You can bring this on a plane. Yeah, I've got it spread out a little bit here, but you could definitely fit all of this on just a tray table in front of you. Or just take it on a car trip so you can play when you get to a hotel, something like that. Yeah, seems like a very nice travel size game of Gloomhaven. I'm excited to play through it all. So let me know what you think about this. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see everybody next week.